Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a first look at an upcoming DLC pack for Panzer Corps II, a turn-based strategy and war game, very much modeled off the Panzer General model of the SSI games back in the 1990s, and the sequel to the 2016, or no, 2012 Panzer Corps I. This game is something I've played a little bit on the channel before, but this is the first DLC that is coming out for the game. It's called the Spanish Civil War, and it, as you would guess by its name, it looks at the Spanish Civil War. Now, today's video is the very first look at this game. It's a game that I was given a copy of, so the game isn't out quite yet. There are still some things they're polishing. But this was my first attempt to play through it. I like to do the first look videos where I just take a blind stab at a game and see how easy it is to pick up and play. Now, I've played Panzer Corps II before, but one of the interesting aspects with the DLC that's going to be coming out soon is that it has an element where German units. You're playing as the Germans, you're playing as the Condor Legion in Spain during the Spanish Civil War, but in it, German units are only consisting of ground units that are like specialist units, like artillery or tanks or air units, and all the infantry is actually commanded by the AI, so you've sort of got this challenge that you have to figure out how to move forward in a campaign when you can't control some of the most important units, and you have to sort of lead them and coordinate with the AI. I think it'll be a really interesting challenge. As I said, this was the very first time I played the DLC, so I was a little bit confused. The first battle in the campaign is nothing like that. You don't have those same restrictions put on you, and so there's a little bit of confusion early on where I don't realize this. This was taken from a live stream from just last night on my Twitch channel. The stream ended abruptly. I had a crash to desktop, not actually because of the game. I had an issue with OBS crashing me. My encoding was basically running at too high a bit rate, and it overwhelmed the CPU. So there's a bit of an abrupt ending, I think, to episode 2 in this series. But that's enough of me rambling. Let's just jump back into the stream and pick things up where we left off, and I hope you guys enjoy. Oh, one more quick thing, guys, before we jump in. Just to let you know, because this game crashed in the stream, I was unable to pull my recording. So usually when I stream to Twitch, but then I'm also creating a source code, if you will, or a source output of my stream on my computer, and that allows it to have a much higher quality when I post things to YouTube because the bit rate's lower when I stream directly to Twitch. Unfortunately, because the stream crashed, the only output I have for the video is by downloading the stream copy from Twitch down to my computer to render this. So if it does look like the image quality is a little bit lower on this video than usual, I apologize. It didn't look terrible to me, otherwise I wouldn't have posted it. I thought it looked pretty okay. But if it does look bad, I do apologize for that. That should be a one-time thing. I'll try and make sure that the game doesn't crash on me next time. But again, that's enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and jump in. Until 1939. The campaign has anywhere between 14 to 16 scenarios, which seems like a lot for a Civil War, strictly Civil War-based scenario. This feels like those old grand DLC campaigns that they had on the original Panzer Corps, where they were like, you've got 10 missions just for the invasion of Poland, or something like that, when usually the invasion of Poland is like 2 scenarios. And in this DLC, obviously, you've got quite a bit of scenarios here. I don't know what the experience cap of 2.5 stars means. That's the only campaign that says anything like that. None of the other campaigns that come with the stock game say anything about the experience cap. Maybe that means the units that you have can't get more than 2.5 stars, which that would be a new feature if that's true. This is taking place in the Spanish Civil War between the Nationalists and oh my goodness, the Nationalists and the Republicans, I believe. Germany is being asked for help from the fascists, Franco's forces, the Nationalists in Spain, and they're sending the Condor Legion to Spain to assist in the campaign. Now, this DLC is interesting for a couple of reasons, but I think the most interesting aspect of this is the Condor Legion was historically primarily an air unit. I think the Germans also did send some small numbers of armored units as well, but there wasn't large-scale German infantry at play in this campaign. And so one of the features that they've introduced with the Spanish Civil War DLC, which is different from all of the other battles in the stock game, is that they're going to allow you to fight battles, and actually I think the entire Civil War is kind of like this, where you fight battles where you only command like air or armored units, but all the infantry units on the map are actually AI controlled. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how the game models that. That's one of the big new features, as well as a whole host of new units to represent the war that occurred in Spain during the Civil War, which was several years before the actual the invasion of Poland, which sort of kicked off the Second World War in Europe. And so it'll be interesting to see how that's all modeled. With that being said, we're going to play, I guess I'm going to go with Colonel difficulty just to kind of play our way through and see how this all plays out. Well, that's interesting. My game just told me that, or OBS told me that my encoder was overwhelmed and I should turn down the quality, which I don't know why it would be using so much CPU, but anyway. It is a beta version. I'm not sure when so I think the Field Marshal Edition comes out on the 9th of July. I think that's about a week before the rest of the game comes out, but I'm not sure. In this campaign, you can earn commendation points by completing bonus objectives. You begin the campaign with 0 commendation bonus points. All right, I think that's new as well. We'll go with the name General Butch, not to be too gruesome and go with Butcher, because that's my usual nickname. But I mean, you know, could be like Butch O'Hare as well, right? I don't like any of these images. I'm going to be the shadowy guy who you can't see. Since we're not really commanding infantry units, infantry traits would be a weird thing to take, so we're not going to do that. I think we're going to go with... what do I want? Most of this stuff isn't air focused. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go with Battle Academy maybe to get the experience bonus. We could go with Panzer as well. I guess we'll go with Operation... No, we'll go with Master Blitz... No. What is it? Battle Academy? Battle Academy to get extra experience growth rate. Although the 2.5 experience cap might kind of negate that. We'll see. I don't want to take any bad traits, so we'll just have Battle Academy. Oberlieutenant Stefan Wagner reporting for duty. May I say it is an honor to meet you, General Butch. I swear now to faithfully serve you in the fatherland to any end. Okay. Okay, so I'm assuming this is the voice acting stuff. When they gave us access to the press version of the original game, it was the voice acting was one of the last things to come in. So I'm sure that'll be in here later. I have your orders direct from Command to Superior. Should we begin? As you're undoubtedly aware, our government has pledged to aid the Spanish nationals in their uprising. Our deployment to Spain is to begin immediately, but there's some critical details I feel you must be made aware of. Because we don't want to undermine the legitimacy of the nationalists, we'll not be deploying any German infantry forces to the Spanish conflict. Therefore, your battle group, Kampfgruppe 88, is to provide supporting roles to assist the main body of the nationalist forces in their coup. This should be really interesting to see how this is modeled. I don't think I've ever seen a Panzer General style game do something like this, where you don't command the primary infantry forces and you just command auxiliaries. That's I'm kind of curious to see how that could play out. That could work interestingly for a number of conflicts, not just the Spanish Civil War, but if you wanted to go to more modern times, looking at like the early days of the Vietnam War when the Americans were primarily providing air support or transport via helicopter or artillery support, but less so combat infantrymen. So this should be interesting. Stainer, July 16th and August 27th are the dates. Okay. Therefore, your battle group, Kampfgruppe 88, is to provide supporting roles to assist the main body of the nationalist forces in their coup. You'll be expected to work closely with our Spanish compatriots in the campaign ahead. Speaking of which, our first assignment is to safely escort them across the Strait of Gibraltar. Primary objective, capture and hold Cadiz and Seville airfields. Bonus objectives, capture and hold the auxiliary airfield. so just to the north of Seville. Garrison 5 Seville hexes with Army of Africa units. That's a bonus objective. Okay, so we need to get these units north to Seville, but I can't command these units because they're not mine. We'll also need to transport our own forces to Spain. Unfortunately, this will be easier said than done. The Republican battleship Jamy is on constant patrol. Submarine reports show she's on her way to interdict our operations as we speak. You will only have a limited opportunity to move your forces across the Strait of Gibraltar before the Republican naval blockade arrives. I wouldn't try to destroy Jamy the First and her escorts either, or our light biplanes are just woefully unprepared to deal with a battleship. We'll just have to deal with her later. There should be enough time to transport 2 waves of units by naval transport if you move quickly. Army of Africa units will most likely be needed to be airlifted, as they're a bit behind our embarkation points. Once aground, our advance to Seville should be easy enough. After we've cleared any resistance around Seville, we should hold the city against any potential counterattack. We need to hold the city long enough to transport Franco's Army of Africa to Spain to ensure that we have ample friendly infantry forces in our campaign to come. Interesting. Thanks for the host there, Sean Mack. All right, so let's see what happens here. We're in the deployment phase. Our objectives are to hold Cadiz and Seville airfields, hold the auxiliary airfield, and garrison 5 Seville hexes with Army of Africa units. All of our units are already deployed on the map. We can purchase more units. It does look like we've got a little bit of extra, or no, wait, no, those are transport. Nope, we're actually at our max core slot. I don't need to undeploy anyone particularly, I don't think. Doesn't look like it'll let me embark my troops either. So I don't think I really have anything to do here this turn. Those are all Army of Africa units. These are our tanks and our artillery. So what am I supposed to do? Just land with no infantry? Because it doesn't look like any of the infantry will be ready there. This auxiliary airfield will be helpful in transporting our troops across the strait. So essentially we need to probably take this airfield first along the coast, advance in Cadiz, then drive north on the road towards Seville, and attempt to take the auxiliary airfield, using our air forces to obviously hold off enemy counterattacks. You can see here we've got an airfield just south of Seville, which could act as the primary base for our air units as we move north. We'll have to redeploy our air units north as well as we advance further and further. Now this is very much my first impressions, so I'm sure I will make mistakes. So just be aware of that. The intention of this is really to show how easy this is just to pick up and play without too much instruction. So we'll see how that all goes. But let's go ahead and end the deployment phase, and then let's start putting troops on ships. Whoops. All right, so we'll embark these guys. We're being told we have enough time basically to do 2 waves of embarkations. Now, I'm not sure if that means like just 2 turns or more than that. I would like to get some artillery across. And a recon unit would also be a good idea to get across as well. Oh, nice. We can actually get these guys immediately on, or at least some of those guys immediately on transports. Not that artillery, apparently. I probably used up too many movement points. Okay. So we've got 2 more transports that we can bring across. Okay. Anti-tank guns here also can get on transports. So we got a pretty good initial deployment here of men who are going to get on board these ships. Or we've got everything except 4 units of ours. And then obviously we've got our air units here, biplanes. I'm not as familiar with the biplanes that were in use at the time. So you can see we just reconned out there. I think these guys are tactical bombers. They are. So you can see there are enemy forces in and around this airfield. That looks like there's a wagon on the airfield, so we'll go ahead and bomb it. Destroy it with our tactical air force here. This guy doesn't look like he can attack. Those are militia troops. So we'll hit these guys with TAC air as well. And I think these guys are fighters. So we'll try to keep our fighters out front of our dive bombers here in order to keep them somewhat safe from enemy air counterattacks. I'm not sure what this guy is. This does look like TAC air, but it doesn't look like he can bomb anything. HE-70 Rayo. Is that recon maybe? Well, we can find out one way really easily. We can go into the menu here and we can take a look at the fighters. And we can see the... I don't see it there. The Rayo is a tactical bomber, it says. I'm not sure why it can't drop. Yeah, I'm not sure if the Germans staged from Africa or not, Jack Tank, or if... I mean, I'm assuming the Spanish forces came out of Africa. There's the, I guess, Republican flag here. I think. And then you can see, obviously, this is the flag of the nationalists. I don't understand why these guys can't bomb. It says they're tactical air. No sign of the enemy battleships. The Rock of Gibraltar. Yeah, this is low-tier War Thunder air units at this moment. So I think that's everybody. Again, I can't control the infantry units. Or can I? I thought I couldn't. The instructions to the game said I couldn't. But it does look like, or at least the, what do you call it? Not instructions to the game. But the write-up said that you don't command the Republican forces. Or nationalist forces. But maybe I can in this scenario? Maybe I didn't change the setting. I'm not sure. That could also be a beta thing. I guess we'll find out. Okay, we got some enemy anti-aircraft fire coming on. We've got some enemy warships moving through the strait to the west. You can see the 2 destroyers are out front. My air units have fallen back. I just don't know why I can't drop there. In any event, we'll bring these panzers ashore at the airfield. So we'll take the airfield first. So that should open up our ability to use air transport to bring in reinforcements. I'll move these guys over here. So we're bringing ashore multiple tank units here. Doesn't look like I can use them to attack yet. Also our recon cars. All right, we'll move this artillery here. Bring this guy ashore here. This anti-tank gun. All right, that one unit couldn't get ashore, but we also did open up a whole bunch of new naval transports because we unloaded our men, so that meant we could load new men up. We worked our cap down, so we went from having a total of 7 deployable landing craft down to 0. Then we landed 6 of them, so we're back to 6. We're back to 6, and now we're trying to move the remaining units across the strait. Go ahead and use our tactical air here. First against this enemy infantry. Not sure I want to bomb these guys. It looks like I'm going to lose some casualties here due to this enemy 20mm gun. Let's hold off on that for now. We'll use this other dive bomber here to do a little bit more recon. So still just the 2 destroyers out this way. They will be closing west. I don't think they'll get there this turn, though. Meanwhile, apparently I continue to command the Army of Africa stuff. Unless I just totally misread the developer diary, or maybe this just portion of it's not turned on yet. But it does look like I get to command these guys. Maybe I don't have the difficulty turned up high enough. I am playing on kernel difficulty, not, you know, that's the second lowest. Okay, so we'll go ahead and end turn. You can see those recon cars are pulling back north. Panzer General, Jami I and her escorts have arrived off the coast. We must transport the Army of Africa with the Ju-52s from now on. Is that a pre-dreadnought or is it a dreadnought? Oh. Damn, their armor's a little bit better than ours. Looked like it actually had a main gun, whereas our tanks were shooting the equivalent of machine guns at them. Yep, it's got a main gun here. Is this a BT-7? Is that a Russian? No, BT-5. So it's Russian supplies that have been given to them. Meanwhile, the enemy warships closing in over here. If we zoom in here, you can see this is a dreadnought, at least by the model of it. It's got 4 main turrets. Now, the Spanish, historically, the Spanish dreadnoughts were undersized. Their docks were small, so they were not as large as the competing designs. All right, enemy aircraft have decided to come out and play. They're not very strong, it doesn't look like. They've only got 5 hit points. So we'll go ahead and swarm them. Got him. All right, so got that guy. I'd like to use my tactical air forces to help. So there's not much in Cadiz right now. Yeah, I mean you're right. Obviously, if we don't have any units, the fact that if we don't have units, the fact that the enemy battleships might be too small doesn't really matter because we don't have any naval units. Where's the German Navy? They sent the pocket battleships out that way, right? Right, recon car gets 1 to 3. That tank gets 1 to 3. So, but I can't hit this guy very well with my arrow because of the enemy anti-aircraft batteries. All right, so we'll move our anti-tank guns forward here to try and take out these Russian tanks here. I don't usually use anti-tank weapons all that much in this game, but did successfully drive that enemy unit back. Now we can fly forward here. It's out of range of these anti-aircraft guns to the south, so we'll go ahead and soften them up a little bit with some bombing. Go ahead and attack them with our light Panzer I-A tanks from high ground, so it gives them an advantage. Drives the unit further back and away from our own. We can't reach this guy here with our tactical bombers. They don't quite have the range. One shy of getting there. I don't think anybody else has the range to get there. So I will speed forth with my recon cars and attack and destroy this BT-7. And move west there. All right, so we've already bombed these guys. Let's go ahead and attack them with our recon cars. All right, so we inflict pretty heavy losses on their anti-air units. Drop our Panzer I-As here. Apparently they can't attack after landing. Okay. Got to get the rest of my troops ashore here that are on the boats. Get some off the boats. Okay. Moving around here. My unit should not be encircled here. All right, so they're down to 5. I've got 2 tactical air units left. One of them is going to hit this, and I think one of them will just go for the anti-aircraft. So these guys are almost destroyed. The anti-aircraft does a little bit of suppression damage. They don't actually destroy anyone yet, so that's good. Got a whole bunch of artillery ashore, and I think that's about it, though, for this turn. Okay. Right, so I think that's going to do it for this turn. Trying to shrink the pocket a little bit. This unit's cut off. All right, so that does for turn number 3. Let's move ahead to turn number 4. Spanish warships are bombarding our infantry on the coast of North Africa. I didn't actually expect that. Smart. I didn't think they would do that, but that's smart. Right, our tanks will destroy this guy. We get an overrun, nice. So we attack, and when you get an overrun, you get to attack a second time. So we attacked and destroyed that recon car. Then we attacked the enemy anti-aircraft gun here, drove it off. Go ahead and attack again. We should get it destroyed, and then we can bring in reinforcements with our air units. Actually, let's just do this. Let's go ahead and finish these guys off with tactical air rather than chase them all over Kingdom Come. Oh, we didn't finish them? Really? All right, I guess we'll attack here. All right, so we finished them off there. Move in and take the airfield here. There's an enemy armored car here, the Bilbo. Go ahead and bomb it with our biplanes. Our biplanes are surprisingly good against certain types of enemy units. Like, I wouldn't typically think of a biplane as having much hitting power, but they do seem to do a decent job. I still don't understand these guys. It says they should be tactical. Let's rebase them here. I can't actually hurt any of these transports by the look of it. Or not transports, but destroyers. Also, this remote airbase doesn't appear, a desert strip doesn't appear to be substantial enough for my other aircraft. My fighters can't base out of this guy down here. They've got to go to the major airbase outside of Cadiz. All right, so we'll get these guys. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. Undo. Thank God for the undo button. All right, so we've got our aircraft coming in. Can these guys land here? Apparently not. All right. So it doesn't surprise me the transport aircraft would have to be at a major base. It is annoying, though. All right, we'll get 3 land units up into the air. Get these men moving this way. So we should be able to get, I think, the rest of, or maybe not the rest, all but maybe one of the remaining units in Africa on air transports next turn. We'll see. We also kind of want to get away from the coast. I don't know why I didn't use my artillery earlier this turn. All right. So that should do it. There's just a supply depot in Cadiz, so Cadiz should fall this next turn. No other enemy units around there. So we'll go ahead and end the turn and head to turn number 5. Whoa. Is that the... No, it's a light cruiser that's bombarding us there. So that guy did a fair bit of damage to our unit there. My air units can't reach. All right, so you can see a fair amount of artillery on the path north towards Seville. Let's attack this recon car. Drive it back, bring our reinforcements in, unload them. I'd like to try and preserve the infantry as much as we can. Just because the infantry is, apparently we've got like a secondary objective to have a bunch of them garrison the Seville region. Oh, I forgot about this guy. And I already put him on the airfield. Damn. All right. I'm guessing the African army under Franco is not Republican, considering that's who they're fighting. All right. So we go ahead and attack these guys. We could use this side road here to flank towards Seville up north. Oh, by the way, we destroyed that enemy unit. So we could do this. We could swing these guys north, east. And I think I'll do that for a portion of our men. The other portion are going to make a frontal assault. These guys. I'm moving some of that artillery east just because it gives them a better firing position on these troops here on the main road. Filthy Peasant, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. All right, meanwhile, we're going to reinforce these guys with elites. Then we're going to go ahead and reinforce these guys with elites. And then I'm going to move... Actually, that's everybody there. All right, we'll fly these guys out this way. And then we've got 2 more units that are moving to the ports or the airfields. I wonder if they just move straight through the channel and don't do anything else. I'm not sure. But I think that's about it for this turn. So those air units can move. These biplane fighters can move. I don't see any enemy aircraft, though. Maybe north of Seville. Looks like they can strafe these guys and do some damage. What's the point of that secondary airfield if it can't do anything? All right, let's reinforce these fighter units. We've got so much prestige. It's kind of worth it. I wonder if we should upgrade any of our air units. Doesn't really look like I've got much to upgrade. Even for the tanks, we're pretty limited in what units we have at this stage of the conflict. Yep, so we'll move forward to turn number 6. Enemy anti-aircraft batteries moving south and engaging our fighters there that we're strafing. Heavy suppression and a little bit of destruction. Meanwhile, enemy artillery is bombarding Cadiz, where our troops are coming ashore. All right, so do we want to bombard the enemy artillery or infantry? I probably should have gone for the enemy anti-aircraft batteries. Alright, since I don't want to take the enemy anti-aircraft fire, move there. Wow. We really drove them out. Too bad I can't really chase them all that well. Alright, let's disembark these infantry. Move them just sort of all over the map. There's not a ton of real estate to work with here. Move what's left in Africa back across the across. I keep saying the channel. I keep wanting to say the channel, but across the Strait of Gibraltar. And then these tactical bombers. Shoot. Misclick. We'll rebase to outside Cadiz. And there you go. We've got these men up to Cadiz. The enemy naval forces should largely become irrelevant as I move north. Actually lose a little bit of range because I drop off the high ground there. Although there's more high ground here that I think I'll pick up. All right, so these guys can move up here. All right, let's hit the fleeing troops there. Maybe chew up some of that anti-aircraft fire. And I think we'll wait till we get the rest of our tactical air force in this next turn to do too much more. I should do some recon out here. So let's go take a look north. So there's enemy anti-aircraft at the auxiliary airfield, but I don't see any other enemy air units. They could exist. There's another airfield way far north. Looks like a nice one too. It's got concrete and all that jazz. I think there's a campaign 1939 which is coming later, but this one is specifically the Spanish Civil War, and it's 14 to 16 scenarios. Utopia rocker. All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward to turn number 7, I guess. I don't feel like we're making great progress. We're kind of slogging it out. Nope. Enemy fighters. I spoke too soon. Multiple enemy fighters. They must be coming down from the north. Artillery's hitting our ACAC multiple times. That's not the target I would have used with my artillery. And then their naval guns apparently can go pretty darn far inshore, which makes sense for a battleship, I guess. All right. So our anti-tank guns are duking it out. My anti-tank gun is better than your anti-tank gun. All right. Let's do this. Bombard that enemy anti-aircraft gun. This infantry on the flank will swing north. Tactical bombers will hit that guy. Also that guy. I think this is mostly just suppression that we're going to lose. We'll see. No, we did lose some casualties there. So did the enemy, though. so we drove him back. We'll pursue. Okay. I guess I'm going to have to start using my infantry. I didn't really want to. But we will, because we're almost halfway through this scenario. Meanwhile, can I get to the fighters? I can't get up to the fighters. So I've just got to kind of keep my fighters in around my tactical bombers to sort of keep them safe as best I can. I can use them to strafe a little bit too, do a little bit of damage to those recon vehicles. Okay, I think I left. No, that's everybody out of Africa. All right, we'll flank that guy. So 2 to 2 there, 1 to 1 there. Should have attacked first with my anti-tank gun. But in any event, wearing him down. Don't really want to take those casualties for that infantry if I don't have to. All right. All right, so we'll move forward to turn number 8. All right, and as we hit the end turn button and move forward to turn number 8, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. This battle was broken into 2 parts, so we're about halfway through the battle. We'll have an episode number 2 that will look at the second part of the battle, probably posting tomorrow. I know I was a little bit confused earlier in the stream because I didn't have the dates in front of me. The game does come out for people who own the Field Marshal edition of the game, so sort of the premium version of the game, on I believe it is July 9th. I believe for those of you who didn't buy the Field Marshal version of the game and you're waiting to see when you'll get access to the DLC packs, I believe that is on July 16th for the Civil War DLC if you purchase that separately. So that'll be coming about a week later. So in the next few days, if you've already got the Field Marshal version of Panzer Corps II, you'll get access to this DLC. And then about a week later, if you didn't get that, you'll be able to purchase this DLC. So far, I think it's pretty an interesting DLC. I like that things seem to be moving a little bit. I think one of my main criticisms of the Panzer Corps II game, the stock gameplay, was that battles seemed to get a little bit too sloggy, and they kind of just turned into almost, it felt like trench warfare. And I know the Russian front was huge and massive and whatnot in real life, but the way this game models it just doesn't quite feel right at times. The Spanish Civil War scenario, the first one anyway that we're playing, is a nice smaller scenario, a little bit more room to run, a little bit more room to play and kind of run around in, and so I do enjoy that element. I think this game really shines on sort of the small to medium size scenarios, but when it gets a little bit too big, then I think it loses what I think it should feel in the Panzer Corps, or I guess in the World War II armored warfare sort of setting. But that's just my initial impressions. So far, I think it looks really interesting and great. I'm really curious to see how those limitations will work in following scenarios when I'm not able to command the ground troops. I really want to try that out. I think that could be really cool. So I think we'll definitely we'll finish this battle for sure, and then we'll definitely jump in and try one of the other scenarios where we don't command the ground troops. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know your thoughts down below, as always. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.